We're going to make the claim during tonight's show that we're going to show the world how to solve famine. According to the story in Al Jazeera, which is really lowballing the amount of people who are basically suffering from the lack of food. 20 million people in Yemen, South Sudan, Somalia, and Nigeria face starvation and famine. And we realize that some people think, oh, these people just live in an area of the world where it's arid and dry and there's no rain falling. Therefore, that's what causes famine. That is not what causes famine, folks. We're going to give you an example to prove that. One of the most prosperous cities in the United States, a city that has more food and housing and an economic infrastructure, is probably in the top 10. I'm not sure where it ranks. That city is called Las Vegas, Nevada. Las Vegas is a city, an area of the earth that is arid and dry and should have people that are suffering that don't have any food. If, in fact, poverty and famine was caused by the environmental effects of the earth. That simply is not true. It's a false statement, and we want people to know that. Famine exists because apathetic or people who do not care exist, and governments exist that are corrupt. We can solve this problem virtually overnight. Now, let's hypothetically set up the situation where the Humanity Party is in power. The United States of America, in its bicameral Congress, in the House of Representatives, there's 2/3 of that House are Humanity Party members. In the Senate, 2/3 of the Senate are Humanity Party members. The President of the United States is a Humanity Party representative. What we're trying to say, let's set up the scenario according to the Constitution as it is, without changing a thing. Nothing's going to change. It's just that now the Humanity Party has power in the government to create law, to issue executive orders, to do these things. How would we solve famine countries? This is how we could easily do it. For those of you who don't understand the food stamp program, I'm going to try to explain it very simply. When an individual does not have enough money for food in the United States, they go down to their local social service office and they apply for food stamps. That application includes a lot of paperwork. If you were to go down to most social service offices in the United States where the poor gather to apply for food stamps, you would see women with 2 or 3 kids, and they can't even control their kids. They don't have the time to go down there, wait in line, and fill out all this paperwork, and then have their paperwork rejected because they didn't include certain things. Part of the requirements to get food stamps, can't have any money in the bank, or very little. You have to be poor. There are certain economic requirements that say only these type of people can receive food stamps. In the United States of America, producers, look up the exact number for me, but I believe there's about 46 million Americans on the food stamp program, according to the reports that come out of the government. 46 million people. I can guarantee you that if we went through the 46 million Americans who had food stamps, and we actually tracked them honestly, that probably half are actually spending the money on the food to feed their kids and to feed themselves. So once you're approved for food stamps, there's an algorithm, there's an amount that's applied to you depending upon if you're single, if you have children, how many dependents you have. That is all considered to the amount of food stamps that you get. And you don't actually get cash. You get a card. It's called an EBT card. I believe that stands for Electronic Benefit Transfer. This is a new thing that happened years ago. Before, like when I was a kid and some other people that are involved in our grassroots movements, when we had to use food stamps, they looked like cash, kind of. They were in a little booklet, and they were like coupons, and you tore them out. They were in $1, $5, $10, $20 increments. And you'd stand in line in a store, and your mom would pull out her food stamp coupons. And yes, it was embarrassing. Everybody's looking at her. Everybody's looking at you like you're poor, and you have to pull out these coupons that screams to everybody, hey, we're poor, we can't afford food, so we had to go to the government and get help. So, I want you to remember that there is an ego thing. There's a human pride associated with receiving benefits from the government. That's how you get them in the United States of America. Now there isn't any coupons. You simply get a card like a credit card. It's a loadable debit card, per se, that the government loads a certain amount of money on, that you can only spend on certain things that the government has determined you should be able to buy in the food stamp program. So, this card, you can't go use that card and fake out the supermarket. You can't go in there and use that card and buy some cigarettes or buy some beer or something like that. You can't. It won't allow you to do that. This is where the fraud comes in. They go to somebody who doesn't get the card, and the person says, hell, I got to go spend $100 today in the grocery store, because the cashier who's checking out the person who's getting the food doesn't know who belongs to the card. They just don't know. Anybody can use a card. So somebody would say, I need $100 worth of food. If you let me use your card to buy the $100 worth of food, I'll give you $50. I'll give you $50. This happens all the time. So a person who's been cated and approved for the food stamps simply gives their card to this person. The person goes in, buys their $100 worth of food, comes out, gives $50 in cash and the card back to the person. So there's a lot of fraud like that that's going on in the United States because the system is set up wrong. And we're going to explain how to eliminate all that, to eliminate the fraud completely. Well, let's just put it out there. The Humanity Party proposal is this, that we cut the paperwork out. We cut the paperwork completely out. That everybody that needs an EBT card for food, they get one. All you got to do is be a human being. Now, we can associate that with the technology that we have to the individual, through their DNA, through their fingerprint, their iris scan. There are many ways that will stop the fraud of an unauthorized person using an authorized person card. We can do that. But that still is not going to stop, for example, the unauthorized person saying, well, just go in there and buy me $100 worth of food yourself and come out with that food and put those bags in my car and I'll give you $50. It's not going to stop that. What's going to stop that is if everybody across the board has access to the same food, to the same benefits. Then nobody's going to do that. It would be worthless. But nobody's going to go up to another person and say, hey, if you buy me $100 worth of food, I'll give you $50 in cash, because they're going to have a card that can do that. That eliminates it right there. But our proposal is that the only products, the only foods that can be purchased with that card are good, healthy, nutritional food. No more candy, no more Pop-Tarts, no more sugary cereals. Nothing that is not good for you can be purchased with that card. Nothing at all. Now, that's a big thing, huge thing, because you got a lot of poor people out there, especially in the United States of America, are very, very unhealthy because they're on food stamps and their kids are used to eating all this unhealthy food. You limit it. You limit the amount of food that they can buy, restrict it, but you make it unlimited. You can have as many apples as you want. You can have many grains or specific cereals or milk or cheese or good food that's healthy for you. You can have an unlimited amount. Get your kids eating this. If you want to buy them Twinkies and Pop-Tarts and Cokes and everything else, candy bars, you're going to have to go get a job and get cash to do that. So, we've just revamped the entire American food program. If we made it and took away all the red tape, so there's no red tape, that any human being that wants it can go down and register for the card, pick up the card the same day, register their information, whether it's Social Security number, their DNA, their fingerprint, whatever is associated with that card. When a person does that, they're going to be very careful how they use it, because when that card's associated with your fingerprint, you're not going to go misuse it because you know the government's going to be watching you. And there shouldn't be a problem with that. You go, you want something free, you're going to have to abide by the rules thereby that grants you the access to that. Okay, so person goes down, anybody in the United States gets their card, they have free access to all that food. Plus, the Humanity Party's way would give any person one free meal at any authorized restaurant that takes EBT cards per day. So a person really doesn't have to go buy any food. They can go down, go to some other smorgasbord place, or even a restaurant that would sign up and be authorized by the government. A person can simply go in there and have one good meal a day. And they can't go in there and buy steak and lobster and all those things. I don't know if steak is pretty good for you in some cases, but the restaurants will also be restricted in what they can allow the people to have. But a person doesn't even need to prepare food. We just eliminated famine in the United States of America. Nobody can ever say that there's another person going to bed without food. No more food banks. No more people standing on the corner saying, I don't have any food, because we all know that would be a lie. We just eliminated that completely, 100%. Yes, there's going to be more jobs created in the sense in the government jobs. Yes, it's going to cause government to increase somewhat because you have to oversee this program and make sure that the restaurants and the food manufacturers are actually authorized, that their food is good quality, that you're allowing the people to buy. So, based on that, and we want you all to make notes and challenge that any way you can. We were in power. We just eliminated famine in the United States of America. So how are we going to do that over in Yemen, South Sudan, Somalia, and Nigeria? Because they're the ones that really need the food at this point. There are not all the starving children in the United States of America, as these charitable organizations claim. Charitable organizations simply just want to make money off their greed versus your sympathy. That's what they want. But over in these other countries, it is devastating. Here's how the Humanity Party could do it. We simply tell these countries this. We want to extend our electronic benefits transfer cards or extend our food stamp program into your country. We will extend it. We will cover the 20 million people. Now, instead of the 46 million people on food stamps in the United States, the United States government is backing 66 million people throughout the world. And these people's cards, these people's food stamp cards, are authorized by the exact same things as the American cards. We simply go up there, we have the technology, we fly over the machines and the cards to print them up, take the picture of the people, take the DNA, whatever they have to do, give these people the cards, and announce it to the corporations of the world, these people have cash in hand. They have these cards that are backed by the United States government. They have power in their hands and money. Go get that money, capitalists. Go get that money. And you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to run right over there. So along with that card, you've got to provide them with temporary food until the American corporations or the world corporations, the food corporations that are profiting off the food stamp program can make it over there to these countries and set up shop. Because guess what? Current food companies love the current American food stamp program. Kellogg's does because you can go in there and buy Frosted Flakes. Hershey's does because you can buy candy bars too. These corporations of all the unhealthy foods, they simply love the government's subsidizing their products because that's exactly what it is, subsidizing their products. These companies will go over there and set up an infrastructure, but a lot of them are American companies, and their American employees don't want to live in Sudan or Yemen or Somalia or Nigeria. So guess what these companies are going to have to do? They're going to have to hire local people to help them distribute the foods that the food stamp program that we've extended to these people allow. All of a sudden, there's all these jobs popping up. Furthermore, some might say, well, how are you going to get the Yemen government, the South Sudanese, and the Somali and Nigerian governments to agree with this? Oh, yeah, they're going to agree with it 100%. Because remember, the Humanity Party is in power. We can make them do it by simply saying, we're going to cut off all of your help. Because obviously it isn't working. There's famine going on in your country. You're not doing enough to stop it. No matter if it's from insurrection, no matter what the cause of famine is, we're not going to get into that. Your government is not working for these people. So we're asking you, we're not saying let's go in there and make Somalia, Yemen, Sudan, and Nigeria American countries. We're not saying that. We know that doesn't work. It's called Puerto Rico and these other countries out there. And what we're saying is this. If you governments let our corporations in there, these corporations will go in there. They'll have their own security force there to protect their drivers and their distribution. And they'll need local help to do that. And they'll start hiring people. It's a win-win situation for those areas of the world. Because once that happens, an economic infrastructure will begin to grow. There'll be Las Vegas, Nevadas all over the plains of Sudan, Yemen, Somalia, Nigeria. They'll find the water from somewhere, or they'll ship it in. They'll get it there if the people have money in their hands. Power comes from money. We all know that. This money, not cash. Can you imagine how those countries will start flourishing? Jobs that will be created. So there's a security guard, a distribution driver, workers, retailers, whatever it takes to set up these businesses and restaurants over there in these impoverished countries. They're going to need local employees, boots on the ground of the Somalians, the Yemens, the Sudanese, the Nigerians, not Americans, because they don't want to live there. But the Americans are backing it with the dollar. But they're getting it going, because all they're doing is Americans are increasing the capacity and the amount of jobs in America to provide food for these people over in these countries. Because the corporations in America are going to go, we're going to get that money, and we're going to hire more people to make it here and package it here, ship it over there to Yemen. We're just going to drop it off there into our distribution to the stores and let the local people be the ones who distribute it. Just all of a sudden, their economy is going to increase. You get the picture, folks? You see how this could create a whole economic infrastructure, more jobs here, providing food services for those people over there. But as those corporations get richer and richer and hire more people over in these other countries, guess what? Pretty soon, these people aren't going to want to have food stamps. Remember that situation we talked about when I was a kid in line with my mother, seeing her pull out her food stamps and everybody looking at her like, you shouldn't have had all those kids, or whatever it was they were thinking. You were embarrassed. Think about a 20-year-old Sudanese male over there. He's courting a girl. Right now, there's no courting going on. It's just basically rape, and let's just have sex because we got nothing else to do. But that girl wants somebody to take care of her. And that Sudanese man has nothing. Can't provide her with anything. Now he has a job. And he says to his girlfriend, I have a great job. I'm going to provide you with this and this and this because of this job that I now have. His pride's up there. I don't even take food stamps anymore. I don't take government help because I have this job and it makes me look good. And I'm self-sufficient. That's human nature. That's pride. Taking pride in yourself, which in essence reflects out onto other people and projects out there, in this case of this 20-year-old male, that other girls look at him and say, hey, this is pretty good. So we're taking human nature and actually helping humans solve their economic problems. But it all has to do with money. The reason why these people exist in poverty-stricken areas of the world because they have no money. The money is in the hands of the few. So some people argue and say, where's this money going to come from? We can't just keep printing this money. It's going to put the nation in debt. That is the most ignorant and absurd statement that has ever been said out there. And if you say that, call up and let's argue it online. But you got to state your real name. It's just like you pulling out those food stamps. You're going to be pretty embarrassed. Because the fact is this, and we discussed the way to explain this to people. If in the United States of America, let's say the United States of America was attacked by China, to what end? How much debt would the United States of America go into to fight and defend themselves from China? Unlimited amount. The national debt of the United States has been going up ever since after World War I. Ever since the Great Depression, it keeps going up and up. It'll always go up and up and up. Because what you have out there is a pool of money that everybody wants to be rich, being involved in. So you got people out there desiring, I want to be rich. I don't want to just get by. I want to be rich. And if there's $100 in the pool and there's no money but that and you don't print anymore, then people got to fight over that $100, and there's only going to be one out of the 10 people they're going to have most of that $100. And then the other people, the other 9 people, it's impossible for them to get rich. It's impossible because there's not enough money. It's in the coffers of the wealthy. The only way that can happen is for more money to be put out on the market and controlled properly. And the only way that can be done without graft, without corruption, is for the people to control the money. And when we put the money in the hands of the Yemenis, the Sudanese, Somalians, and Nigerians, that gives those people power. Every single one of you know that. When you have your paycheck in hand, you have cash in your pocket, you got power. You got purchasing power. You got pride in yourself. You got pride in something. Hey, I mean something to this world. Those people over in those countries, they think the world's forgot about them, and they don't care. So you got this 20-something guy trying to make an impression on his girlfriend. And the only way he knows how to do it is say, I'm going to go fight against the green-eyed monsters of the western states that have caused us to live in this poverty situation, who've taken our oil and our natural resources and given us nothing for it. I'm going to join Boko Haram. I'm going to join ISIS. I'm going to join these insurrection groups. You watch me, baby. I'm going to be something big and something important. I'm going to carry a gun. This is exactly what's happening, folks, all throughout the world. Humanity Party has the solutions. My name is Christopher. I'm a representative of the Humanity Party, the official spokesperson.